Well, so I mean, I think what's interesting is when I first started working, even when I was a teenager, I actually worked at a shoe store in the States, and I worked there for several years. And it was funny because I was one of the top sellers of shoe cleaner because I was only allowed to be behind the counter. And so I remember I really wanted to be a salesperson. I just thought that was the coolest thing, and I wanted to sell shoes. I'm like, why can't I sell shoes? And they would say, oh, because you're a girl, you can't do that. This is like in the 90s. And anyway, I remember one time the district manager came in and he says, why, or, what would you really like to do? How can we make you happy? I said, well, I want to sell. Say, okay, tell you what, if you can sell the most cleaners, like sell 10 cleaners today, if you can sell that many cleaners as add-ons, sell the shoes, then we'll talk about making you a salesperson. So I ended up having the highest shoe sales, cleaner sales in the country that night. I think I sold like 25 or something like that, like blew it out of the water. And I still didn't get to be a salesperson after that. So I think that was one of the first moments where I realized that the deck may not be stacked equally, even though my effort and my evidence that I could do what they were saying was there. There was something else that was holding me back from the next step. So in 1998, I actually had a tech startup that I worked for. It was the first one that I worked for. And I was hired in as a receptionist. I just moved to Canada at that time. And so I had my bachelor's degree, but it was in something completely unrelated. And I worked there for a few months, and I was really fortunate because within a few months I was noticed by the VP of Business Development. And he said, you don't belong there. We got to get you into business development. I knew I was meant for sales. And anyway, so he ended up pulling me into his business development team where he started training me and actually lifting me up. So it was, for me, that was a major moment. I don't know what my career would have done had someone not noticed that I had a skill set that could be worked. That was my first foray into leadership. Throughout the years, I ended up finding very creative solutions for how to balance family time with the work that I needed to do. I had a mind that was active. I needed to keep it active, but I also needed to take care of my kids. So I founded my own businesses. I did my own things off the side. As a woman, these kind of creative solutions were kind of what needed to happen in order to make all the necessities of life come together. And then I guess it was in 2000, I want to say 2009 or so, I had the opportunity to join a tech company as a founder. And as a woman, it was actually a great way for me to get back into the tech sector and also not have to worry about convincing as a woman whether or not I belonged in any particular role or not. So I was able to just be and to be as excellent as I wanted to be. And so I guess that the answer to your question on how has it affected me is it's made me a very creative person. I've had to figure out my own paths in order to be able to do what I felt like I was meant to do. And I think that any obstacle that I've faced, it's made me exceptionally good at figuring out a way around that obstacle and still succeed.